Today, so we're just going to kind of go over the finishing up of the notes that I would normally do in class. So let's start by taking a look at number 3. In order to solve number 3 by substitution, we first want to take this, and I'm going to solve it for x. So we have x minus 3y is equal to 0. So to solve that for x, I'm going to add 3y to both sides. So then I get that x is equal to 3y. So where I see x up here, I'm going to go ahead and plug in that 3y. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we have 7y is equal to 26 plus 11, and now I'm plugging in that 3y. So then I have 7y is equal to 26, oops, this should be 3, plus 33y. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 33 from both sides. So then I get that y, so I get a negative 26y is equal to 26. Okay, so that's just when I did 7y minus 33y, you get negative 26y. So now I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by a negative 26. So I get that y is equal to a negative 1. So now that I know y is equal to a negative 1, I want to go back, and I can actually plug it into this equation right here. I can choose from this one, or this one. I like to choose from the one that makes my life easier, which is when x is equal to something already. So I'm taking x, and it's equal to 3, and now I'm going to plug in a negative 1. So x is equal to 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. So then I want to write it out as a coordinate point x, y. So my solution is negative 3, negative 1. Okay? All right, next, let's take a look at some of those word problems that I skipped over. So let's first take a look at, I guess I didn't put it on here, the one that I didn't quite finish that I had set up for you, number 8. You had a couple you needed to finish. So let's take a look at number 8. So for number 8, we have x is equal to 4y plus 8. I gave you that, and x plus 4y is equal to 40. So now we want to take and substitute in what we can. So I'm going to take this x and I'm going to substitute it in down there. So I get 4y plus 8, and then I'm also going to add this 4y is equal to 40. So then I get 8y plus 8 is equal to 40. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides, and then I get 8y is going to be equal to 32. Divide both sides by 8, and I get that y is equal to 4. So I know y is equal to 4, so I'm going to take and I'm going to plug in 4 for y right there. So then I'm going to get that x is equal to 4 times 4 plus 8. So now we're looking for that larger number. So we get 16 plus 8, and we get that x is equal to 24. So the larger of the two numbers is 24. All right, let's take a look at this one. The State Fair is a popular field trip destination. Last year, the senior class at Apple Valley High School and the senior class at Eastview High School both planned trips there. Okay, so first of all, Apple Valley High School had 8 vans and 8 buses for 240 students. So I'm going to let x equal the number of students in a van. And I'm going to let y equal the number of students on a bus. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure this out. So we have 8 vans with x a number of students, 8 buses with y amount of students, and that needs to equal 240 students for Apple Valley High School. For Eastview, we have 4 vans with x amount of students and 1 bus with y amount of students, and that is equal to 54 students. So now we need to go ahead and solve this equation. So the first thing I need to do is solve this for y. So we have 4x plus y is equal to 54. So we need to subtract 4x from both sides. Then y is equal to negative 4x plus 54. So now I know that y is equal to this right here. So I can take and I can plug that in for y over there. So I'm going to do that next. So I have 8x, that's going to stay the same. Then I'm going to take 8, and I'm taking that y out completely, and I'm putting in negative 4x plus 54, and setting that equal to 240. So now we want to go ahead and solve this for x. So we have 8x minus 32x plus 432 is equal to 240. So combining those two, you get negative 24x plus 432 is equal to 240. Subtract that from both sides. And then you get negative 24x is equal to negative 192. And then we're going to divide both sides by a negative 24. And we get that x is equal, oops, lost my ink. We get that x is equal to 8 students. So there's 8 students in the van. So if you recall, we found out that y is equal to 54 minus 4x. So now I'm going to plug that in. So I have 54 minus 4 times 8. So that's 54 minus 32, which is equal to 22. Now y represents students in the bus, so we're going to do students for the bus. So there's 22 students on the bus and 8 students in the van. Let's take a look at this last word problem. Brenda's school is selling tickets for a spring musical. On the first day, the ticket sales were sold 3 senior citizens and 9 child tickets. Okay, so let's let X represent the money for senior citizen tickets. Let's let Y represent the money for children's tickets. So we know that 3 senior citizens at X price and 9 children at Y price were $75. So then the next day they did 8 senior citizens for X and 5 children for Y, and that was equal to 67. So now we need to go ahead and solve one of these equations for a variable. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to solve this one for x because that seems the easiest. So I have 3x plus 9y is equal to 75. So I'm going to subtract 9y from both sides. And I get that 3x is equal to a negative 9y plus 75. Last thing I want to do is divide both sides by 3. And I get that x is equal to a negative 3y plus 25. Now x is equal to this right here, so I can take this and I can plug it in for x right there. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take out the x completely and I'm going to put in negative 3y plus 25. Then I have plus 5y is equal to 67. So I'm going to take this 8 and distribute it in. So I get negative 24y plus, then 8 times 25 is going to give me 200, plus 5y is equal to 67. So the next thing I need to do is combine like terms. Negative 24 and 5 is going to give me negative 19y plus 200 is equal to 67. Subtract 200 from both sides. And I get a negative 19y is equal to a negative 133. We don't want to have a negative number, which is good because we're dividing by a negative. So when you divide those out, negative 133 divided by negative 19, you get $7. Now we do need to know that that $7 is for the child. We can't just say $7. We need to explain which one it represents. Now if you remember earlier in the problem, we solved for x, and we said that x is equal to a negative 3y plus 25. So now we can take and we can plug in for y. So then that's going to be negative 3 times 7 plus 25, and that will give us what x is equal to. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21 plus 25, and that's going to be 4. So we get $4 for senior citizens. Again, we want to make sure we note that. So that's your final answer for that one. Make sure you're labeling all your answers. Once you're done with this video, you can go ahead and get started on the practice sheet. Thanks for listening.